Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the country. You got to say it to believe it. Got to manifest it, okay? Got a good show tonight. Going to talk to possibly, if he pops up here, Darius Reed, NFL punt returner, wide receiver. Going to talk about his path, who he's tried out for, looking to get back into the NFL there, and ask a little bit about his story and everything. And also, guys, I'm going to go over the AFC East and the AFC North today. Now, we are 48 hours away from the NFL season start. I get it. And around 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time, which will be halftime of the Dallas and Tampa Bay game, we'll start the program. I will finish the AFC. I'll give you my Super Bowl prediction from the AFC, just to give you a heads up. Last week, I've got Tampa in the Super Bowl. I have Tampa and San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. Okay, it's going to be a very close game. I think Tampa edges them out at home, and then they represent the NFC. I'm going to do the AFC East and the AFC North tonight. And then I'll finish up the AFC. I'll give you my Super Bowl predictions. And, some people say, well, the season started. Well, hot take here. Stunner. I think Tampa is going to win Thursday over Dallas. So it's not really before the season starts. I mean, it's the first game technically, but technically week one really, in my opinion, starts on Sunday at noon Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern, when the rest of the games go off there. And it technically won't be over with until Monday after the Monday Night Football, which I think is Oakland and the Ravens. I'll tell you what, guys, it's still, even to now, I am still at odds at who to pick for the wild cards. I've only got one wild card that I'm pretty positive is going to be a wild card in the AFC. I've got to finish up the AFC South, but worked on this Sunday and all day Monday, and also made some of my future bets, prop bets for the NFL coming up. Got involved in the FanDuel. Again, guys, there's going to be no draft or no fantasy show this year. I am too busy with the Mac and Jack show, with my two shows, with these long 12-hour days, that towards the end of the season, or when this NFL season ends, I will be making a transition out of my job into another job at some point. Into a sports talk job, even if it takes a pay cut. So, anyways, there was some college football on this weekend. I made some notes. Nick Saban ought to teach a master's class after retirement. This guy, they've had like 3 returning starters on offense. And Bill O'Brien and this Bryce Young, this quarterback, they are totally in sync like nobody's business against the number 11th ranked Miami team. To look that good, it's unbelievable. They were by far, in my opinion, better than any of the other top 5 as far as looking crisp teams in the country. O'Brien's already off to a really good start with Young and that chemistry there. This team's going to be tough to beat. I'm not ready to make them champions or anything. I've already made my predictions and bets. I still like them going down the stretch. Now, Clemson, again, with Georgia on their schedule, was ranked 72nd. And now they've lost to Georgia. North Carolina lost. Miami was totally blown out of the water. They're on the outside looking in. They're going to need help at this point to get into the playoffs. Even if they run the table, they're going to need plenty of help. Florida State lost. They needed some upsets in their conference. They play Florida State later. DJ, the quarterback there, looked lost. Georgia's defense played great. But, I mean, this game coming down to one play, it was a pick 6. I picked Clemson to win that game. I figured that Clemson defense would play a little bit better, and this quarterback wouldn't make that throw. I figured he would be a better rushing quarterback than Daniels at Georgia. But I've been saying this for the last 3 years. They've had some of the best classes in the country, second to Alabama. 1 year they had a better class than Alabama. They have underachieved. Maybe this is their year to possibly break in and get over the top. They're going to have to develop more offense. They've had wide receivers that were injured coming into this game. Everything pointed towards Clemson. The game was played in Charlotte. That's why I picked Clemson. But you got to give Georgia credit. They got the win there. Georgia can lose a game and still get into the playoff, possibly. Depends on who they lose to. That they are selling pretty well. Ohio State seems to have gotten the break. They have beat Minnesota at Minnesota, even though they struggled. They still covered. They still won. Now they got to play Oregon at home. And that, as I said at the beginning of the preseason, that I think that they would lose one of those two games. Well, Oregon's best player on defense, I think this guy's last name is Thibodeau, kind of like Tom Thibodeau, the former head coach of the New York Knicks, one of the best pass rushers in the country. I think this guy's going to be like a number 2 or number 3 pick overall. That's how talented he is. He got an ankle injury in the Fresno State game. I got a feeling he's not going to play. If he does, he's not going to be effective against Ohio State next week. So it looks like Ohio State's going to win that game. They are 14.5-point favorites at home. They'll probably win that game, and they're going to sell for the next 6 or 7 games. They are definitely got the edge on Clemson as far as getting that other playoff spot. Oklahoma bragged on their defense all off season. From what I read from the Field Steel magazine, they end up giving up 34 points to Tulane. And, of course, now they have dropped in the rankings. It's still early. Teams are still developing. But, again, Alabama's by far the best team out there. Not sure if Oklahoma is the number 2 team. Maybe it is Georgia or Ohio State at this point. It's still not conclusive enough for me. So that's my take on the college game here. Now, Darius, if you're there, my friend, come on into the room. Hit the link that I sent you, and I'm going to give him about 5 minutes. And if he don't come, I'm going to go ahead and start the AFC East, which I guess I could go ahead and start reading about. Now, the Jets, I was talking about this with the Mac and Jack show, that this team has they got a new head coach, Robert Saleh, former defense coordinator, San Francisco 49ers. You got Adam Gase was replaced with the Jets, okay? And Chris Sims from Pro Football Talk said, first of all, let's back up. Sam Darnold, there was a lot of discussion whether they're going to keep or trade Sam Darnold. Well, that finally came to a head. Sam Darnold, he's traded. He's got a new beginning with the Carolina Panthers. He's going to be over there. Now, that was done. Go fast forward into the pre-draft process with this Zach Wilson quarterback out of BYU. Chris Sims of Pro Football Talk says that he thinks Zach Wilson is a better player than a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence. This guy's undersized, come from BYU. He wasn't even in the pre-draft conversations that I heard of prior to 2020. Guys like Trey Lance, Justin Fields, of course, Trevor Lawrence, those guys were in draft conversations, even Trey Lance from North Dakota State. They were in draft conversations before the 2020 offseason, going into 2021 offseason. So I was just thinking, Chris Sims, this guy's trying to pump up his brand, former NFL quarterback, son of Phil Sims, Super Bowl winner and all that. I feel like he's just trying to push up his brand. But he said, Zach Wilson was his favorite prospect. But, I'll have to say this. As of right now, if you look at his stats, you look at his quarterback rating, we're talking just a few preseason games. He does have the best resume. Now, we got to look at NFL defenses. He's playing with the Jets. The Jets, looks like they may have overpaid Corey Davis, but Corey Davis was a big target of Zach Wilson. But if you look at what I looked at their offensive line, it's ranked 22nd. It's not terrible. And, Jay Crowder, one of the best slot receivers out there. Very good route runner. And then you have Elijah McGuire. I want to say this guy's name was. They got out of Elijah Very Tucker was a first-round pick also. Guard there out of Southern Cal looks to be a hit. I mean, it's early. I get it. And Micah Beckham, second-year player out of Louisville on their offensive line, they're expecting big things from these guys. Elijah Moore, Yeah, the Ole Miss wide receiver, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Jay Crowder. So they're going to have a good to fair wide receiving core. I wish they would do a little bit more in running back, although their rookie running back, not Tevin Coleman here, Michael Carter out of North Carolina, looks to be a speedster. He looks to be a speedster, and he may be one of those shot in the pan kind of guys. They traded Chris Herndon of the Jets. They traded him to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I liked him, a little inconsistent with the Jets. Everything was inconsistent last year. But so far, they're going to run a very similar Sean McVay type of offense there in the Jets. And you got Robert Salah there at the defense. Got some pieces on the defensive line there with the guy out of Alabama they picked a few years ago, Quentin Williams at nose tackle. So they're going to be decent against the run. They're going to have a little bit of pass rush issue. They still got a pretty shaky secondary up there in New York. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be, this team only won 2 games last year. But anywhere from 4 to 5 to 6 wins, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't upset somebody. I think they'll probably split with Miami. Let me look and see what I've got there. Now they did pick up a guy like Carl Lawson, paid him some money. He was a defensive end out of Cincinnati. Lawson is a guy that had a history of getting hurt, torn ACL twice prior to coming in. Now he's torn his ACL again. Now he's already out for the year. So that turns out to be a bad pickup there. And of course, let me double check and see if this guy's not got back to me. If not, I'm going to have to, like I said, I've been continuing to go ahead and just do the Jets anyway. So Darius, if you want to check in. If not, that's okay too. I'm going to continue with the program here, guys. I've got it. The show must go on. I'm on a very tight schedule. Okay. So, this Jets team, they're going to be presented. They're going to be a fun team to watch. They open up against former Jet Sam Darnold. Now, I've got them losing that game at Carolina. The games I think they can possibly win. They got to play Atlanta at London. Atlanta's got a terrible defense. They're a terrible road team. I don't think either one of these teams have been to London. If you ever pick in one of these London games, by the way, you always want to lean towards a team that's been there before. Like the Jaguars had went there practically every year. And I remember one year I took the Ravens defense because they just had a bad team one year, and they beat the brakes off the Ravens. It was like 42-17 or something like that. But neither one of these teams have been there. Now, I like them. I like their defense. I like them possibly to beat Atlanta and London. They've got Cincinnati at home on Halloween. I like them to possibly get a win there. They've got Miami at home on the 21st of November. I kind of like to see them. I think they can possibly beat Miami. He looks better now in preseason than Tua's looked. You know, he's looked better than Tua. Better, quick release, athletic guy. And they've also got Philadelphia at home and New Orleans at home. They've got Jacksonville at home. So, you're talking 3, 4, 5, 6 wins. That's a major improvement. And I'm calling for possible wins there. That doesn't count the games that they may be involved in, where you're talking a one-score game. For instance, at Denver. Well, that could be a one-score game even at Denver. I know that Denver's got Teddy Bridgewater starting. I'm gonna finish out Denver and the Colts schedule tomorrow, and I'm going to give you guys my AFC Super Bowl pick. So this team is going to be a fun team to watch. You've got a lot to be optimistic about if you're a Jets fan. And I'm not one of these public relation guys. I'm not one of these rah-rah guys that's just going to tell you that, yeah, this and that, they're going to be. No, if they're bad, I'm going to tell you they're a bad team, okay? If they're going to be interesting, I think they're going to be interesting. This particular Jets team, unlike the ones in the past, they will be an interesting team. I don't know how good a head coach they've got, but I do like the fact that they look to have found their quarterback, okay? And this guy's advanced. You know, the two guys that I really thought that would struggle the most coming out would be Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. And again, those are the two guys that are shine the most in the preseason. So I'm going over here, and I'm kind of doing this forwards, backwards, and sideways. Okay, my next team to talk about here. All right, New England Patriots. The Patriots are a team that spent a ton of money. I want to say $250 million in contracts in the offseason. Added guys like Hunter Henry, Judon. What's this guy's name? Matthew Judon. Now, he's a pass rusher from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, that may hurt the Ravens. Nelson Aguilar. Now, Aguilar quietly had a great year last year. I watched a lot of his games because I played him in fantasy with the Raiders. Quite frankly, in my opinion, he was the most consistent wide receiver for the Raiders. Darren Waller's a tight end. I understand that. But Nelson Aguilar, they lost him to free agency. The Raiders did. And so I like him. Now, a lot of people are more high on this Kendrick Bourne out of San Francisco than I am. Didn't see a lot out of him. I'm sure he's a great athlete. But the Patriots, they picked up Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. Now, Jonnu Smith looked like a world beater one week with Tennessee. And then the next week, I'm asking my dad, because I play fantasy. I play this high-stakes fantasy. And then I don't know where he's at. So I totally agree with John Robertson of the Titans, the general manager, of letting Jonnu Smith walk and letting Corey Davis always has some kind of nagging hamstring injury. Last year had a really bad problem with dropping big passes in big moments last year. Corey Davis dropped a few big ones last year that cost Tennessee that playoff game. I'm glad that they let those guys walk, per se, okay? But the Patriots, remember, they had 8 opt-outs last year. The Patriots had 8 opt-outs, including Dante Hightower, a Pro Bowl level linebacker who is back, by the way. And, you know, they've cut Cam Newton. By the way, Cam Newton was never picked up. So apparently they did the right thing. Now, I wouldn't have cut Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton can get you rushing touchdowns. You can use him in situations there. I guess they felt like he was a distraction. He's such a, well-known player around the league. But this guy's got like a 60, Mac Jones, 69% completion percentage. James White said that he think Mac Jones from the first practice, they felt like he was the guy. I mean, he walked right in like he had been running this offense for 3 or 4 years, which he did something similar at Alabama. Okay. And he had a strike against him because he come from Alabama with all that talent at Alabama. But that's the way the game is supposed to be played. Look, make a decision. It's supposed to be snap, 1,000, 1,000, make a decision. Okay, you go. That's going over your reads. You're supposed to have that pre-snap, and if you're 1-2 targets taken away, check it down, throw it away, or take off running. Preferably, you don't want to. Only time you really want to run is to get out of trouble, stay in the pocket, make the play, or take off running towards the sideline and get out of bounds if you need 2 or 3 yards. Live to fight another day. You don't want to sit there and diving up the middle all the time and getting blasted. But you got to make that decision within 1,000, 1,000, make a decision. And that's what he's done. Of course, it's preseason. But listen, like I said last week, this team, I'm sure they played ones-on-ones in practice. Bill Belichick's not an idiot, man. This guy's been doing this 40 years, 40-plus years. He's looking at this and he's saying, okay, we're going to do this exotic blitz on him. We're going to do that exotic blitz on him. We're going to give him all of everything we can think of but the kitchen sink, and we're going to see how this kid reacts. So there's no tell. What we're seeing in the preseason's one thing. If you're seeing it, Pickles, and with Bill Belichick's complex offense, that's another thing, So there's a lot to be talked about with this New England Patriots team. And again, 8 opt-outs. You lost Tom Brady last year. You lost your kicker last year. Cam Newton got COVID last year. There was no preseason last year. There were no mini camps last year. There was a very, chopped up, small training camp. I mean, just Zoom meetings. And they still finished 7-9 last year. And I was telling my dad this the other day. They were the lowest penalized team in the NFL. This guy can coach, And last week, Asante Samuel said Bill Belichick be just another coach without Tom Brady. It's kind of a shot because he was mad because Cam Newton got cut. Well, Newton has not been picked up yet. And Bill Belichick took all these replacement players, and they were still the least penalized team in the NFL. For example, last year they played Kansas City on October 5th. That game was 26-10, but that game was a 1-score game most of the game. It was the best team in the NFL at that time. With all those replacements, that was a 1-score game most of the game. They got blown out a couple of times. 49ers beat them like a drum in their own backyard. That was during the COVID time. But they beat Baltimore, a playoff team last year. Chargers running high. Went up to L.A. and shut L.A. out 45-0 last year. But this team with Buffalo, I definitely have Buffalo winning this division. I'm going to talk about Buffalo here in a few minutes. But I've got them going anywhere from 13-4, 12-5, 11-6. I'm closer to 12-5, 11-6 than I am 13-4. I think they're going to beat Miami in week 1, which is, even without Stephen Gilmore's going to be out a few weeks. This is Bill Belichick. Look how good Alabama was. You give Bill Belichick all summer to scout you. And, the Dolphins contacted the Texans for a reason. They know Tua's limited. So I think they're going to win just like last year. I couldn't believe it. Patriots won last year at home against Miami. They're going to win Sunday at home against Miami, in my opinion. And then they got to play at the Jets. I mean, I'm high on Zach Wilson, but when you've got Bill Belichick throwing all those exotic looks at you, I think he's going to struggle there. Got New Orleans at home. I got them 3-0. And then they play Tampa on October 3rd. Again, I said Tampa's got to go to L.A. to play the Rams. Then they're going to come back to the East Coast and play this Patriot team. I think they'll beat this Patriot team, but I think that Tampa team will probably get beat by this Ram team. They're going to be looking ahead to this Patriot team, and then they'll beat this Patriot team. But that's going to be a much talked about game, Pickles. That's going to be a game that is going to be hyped up all week. Tom Brady coming back to play Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's got his new quarterback. Tom Brady has his new football team. I can't wait for that game. That game is going to be it's going to be a 8:20 Eastern time Sunday night football. I cannot wait, Pickles. Very early in the season, week 4. I expect Tampa to be 2-1, and I expect the Patriots to be 3-0. I mean, but the Patriots got to play at Houston after that. They got Dallas at home. They got the Jets at home. They got to play at the Chargers on Halloween. I think they're going to win all those. At Carolina, they'll beat Carolina. They're going to swallow up these young quarterbacks, you know. And then on November 14th, I got them losing to Cleveland, but they can win that game. But it is in Foxborough. Then at Atlanta, and then Tennessee at home on the 28th. Now, Tennessee could beat them at home on the 28th because it's before their bye week, and Tennessee's already had their bye week, the November 28th, which is, the week of Thanksgiving weekend after Thanksgiving. And then they play at Buffalo on Monday night, losing that one, bye week, and then at Indianapolis, they'll win that. Buffalo at home, I think they'll lose both Buffalo games, and I do think that they will sweep the Miami Dolphins. Again, probably 12-5. Probably. They may lose one of these games. Last year, they lost to Houston. Okay? They may lose one of these games that I don't think they're going to lose. Mac Jones may have a rookie quarterback moment, Pickles, where he has just a bunch of stupid turnovers. Ideally, they could lose the Chargers this time. The Chargers are coming off of a bye week. Maybe Justin Herbert won't be intimidated by the Bill Belichick defense this time, And plus, the Chargers got Derwin James back if he's still playing. Guy gets hurt every other year, just about. And Joey Bosa, I could see them possibly losing that one. And I could see Miami winning Sunday because of Stephon Gilmore being out with all those wide receivers there. But even if they do lose one to the Jets and one to Miami, that still puts them right in that playoff hunt. And I think they will beat tiebreakers because I think this division is going to be better than people expected. I think the Jets are not going to be picking second overall. That's probably going to be somebody like Philadelphia or Houston or Detroit, right? So I think the Jets are going to win more games. And I definitely think Miami's going to win quite a few games. And Buffalo is going to have one of the best records in the AFC. Okay? All right. Okay, Miami. Now, Miami is interesting. I just talked about the calls that's been made. That reports that the Chris Greer, which is general manager, and Flores and those guys have contacted Houston on Deshaun Watson. Nothing was done. And then Flores put that to rest and said, I will assure you that this year in air quotes, that Tua will be our starting quarterback. So, something, here's my issue with Miami. It's the same issue with the New York Giants. The Giants have the 32nd ranked offensive line in the NFL. When Barkley wasn't going, we don't even know if he's going to play week 1, by the way. They were 32nd ranked offensive line. They were 32nd ranked in offense. Daniel Jones is he's a very quick lateral runner, much quicker than I thought he was. But he's not a very quick or straight line runner. He's not a quick side to side shift in the pocket kind of guy. That's the same kind of thing I see with Tua, except he's actually shorter. But this team, all that being said, they were putting in Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, taking him out, putting him back in, playing Tua. This team still won 10 games. Really good defense. At one point, it was considered a top 5 defense. Special teams played well last year. Pickles, pick sixes. Had a little issue with Xavier Howard in the offseason. They got that taken care of with his contract. And also, they got rid of Fitzpatrick and picked up Jacoby Brissett. Brissett is a guy that hangs on to the ball too long. He's not actually as athletic as a Ryan Fitzpatrick. I wish they would have did more to address their offensive line than they did. I would not have taken Jalen Waddle. I would have took Slater, or I would have took Penei Sewell. I want to say that they had a chance at both of those guys. I think they went down to 6, and Slater, the offensive right tackle out of Northwestern's playing great, by the way, ended up going to like 13th to the Chargers. Instead, they take Jalen Waddle, and one of those great sensational wide receivers out of Alabama. And, of course, they signed Pickles. They signed Will Fuller. They've got Mike Gesicki, and they got Devontae Parker. I mean, that is a well of a receiving core. You can't stop all those guys. Now, if I am Flores and the offensive coordinator in the meeting rooms tonight's Tuesday, I am assimilating a game plan where we're going to be very aggressive very early against New England come Sunday, because you can't cover all these. Belichick likes to double one guy, and a lot of times he'll take one guy out, and he may take 2 guys out. He's going to give you a lot to look at. And I could see Flores kind of playing close to the vest, running the ball, not make mistakes. I would not do that type of game plan. With Gilmore out, with him out, one of these guys is going to have a great matchup. It may be Will Fuller. It very well may be Will Fuller. Now, Parker's been there last year. Gesicki, in my opinion, is probably the most talented of all of them, the tight end. I would move him all over. You know what? If I am Miami, and Miami's pretty smart. I mean, Flores is a smart guy. Chris Carroll's a smart guy, their general manager. I would have watched every play that the Kansas City Chiefs used with Travis Kelce and moved Gesicki all over the place. They're tight end. They've got out of Penn State, which guy's great. He had some really good games last year. And Tua liked him. Now, I did like their running back, Malik Jackson, but my problem with him, little undersized, seemed to get hurt often down the stretch there in Miami. But this team is going to have a good defense. They've got a really good receiving core. But, again, it's all about Tua, and we'll see, okay? But let me look at there. Okay. So we'll see how this plays out. Now I've got them going about 11-6. I've got them losing to New England early. I've got them losing to Buffalo early. Just like they did last year. They lost their first 2 games last year. Buffalo is going to be one of the best teams in the AFC, one of the best teams in football. And I'm going to talk about them here in a minute. And then they play at the Vegas. They've got the Colts at home. I think they'll win that. Then they got to go play at Tampa. Jacksonville, London. They could lose that game. Jacksonville, London. As bad as Jacksonville is, Now, Flores is a smart guy. I'm sure he's going to work on the logistics. He was coaching with Belichick when Belichick took the Patriots to Mexico City after a West Coast swing, and they went to Mexico City, and they beat the brakes off of the Raiders. And Belichick said that was too much moving around, too much logistics there. That's too much hassle for us having to do this. They had some air quality problem. There was all kinds of stuff that went wrong. But the Raiders got smoked. They smoked the Raiders, okay? So Flores will have them ready, but this is his team. But Jacksonville, those players go there every year. So they could possibly lose it. I'll get them winning that one, but that one could be a loss there. Then they've got Baltimore at home on a Thursday. The Giants at home on January 5th before their bye week. That could be a loss. Teams like that. At New Orleans on Monday, the 27th of December, 2 days after Christmas. But then they got to play at Tennessee the next week. That's in December. I got Tennessee winning that game because it's a short week for Miami, and then Miami has to go on the road. Miami has to go up north to New Orleans on December 27th, and at Tennessee. I got Buffalo pretty much sweeping these guys from the way the schedule was set up. And I got them going anywhere from 11-6, maybe 10-7. They won 10 games last year. So they're going to be a bubble team right now. I've got the Patriots finishing better. Okay. But as of today, and Thursday, I will give you my final answer. Remember on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Is that your final answer? Thursday, I'll give you my final answer on whether or not Miami makes the playoffs. I put 11-6 there, and we're going to find out, okay? Now, this is another thing. You know, people say, well, they played great defense last year. Here's the thing about that. They got 9 starters coming back. The league has seen your defense around. The league has seen your players. So they're going to make adjustments to your team. They've seen a lot of Tua last year. So the league is adjusted to Tua. The AFC East, Belichick and McDermott up here in Buffalo, they've seen. So they're going to adjust to you just like you have to adjust to them. So we're going to see how all that plays out, okay? Now, the Buffalo Bills, they had some opt-outs too, including one of their defensive tackles. This guy, let's see if I can say his name right. His name is Star Latadu. Very difficult name, Pickles. But he's came back, and he's a defensive tackle. He's came back. He's going to be help them stop the run. They had some issues stopping a run last year. And then they drafted 2 defensive ends, one meaning this Gregory Rossinu, and I've highlighted his name. I'll see if I can get it right. Rossinu out of Alabama or out of Miami, the Hurricanes. So I think that they've got a good pass rush this year. They had some pass rush issues. They've always had good corners. You can't throw on them. You could beat them in the middle of the field. You can use your tight end to beat them. That's why Kels destroyed them in the AFC Championship game. But again, Lamar Jackson couldn't find nobody. He just could not find anybody, and he ended up getting hurt in that game. So this Buffalo team, they opened up against Pittsburgh. They're at Miami. I got 2 wins there. Washington home. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, up and down player like that against this team. That's going to be a lot of back and forth, some 3 and outs there against this defense. Now, they've got a good front 4 Washington. They're going to be able to play with anybody defensively. But, I mean, this team has added Emmanuel Sanders on their team. They've added Jacob Hollister, tight end, Pickles out of Seattle. You got Emmanuel Sanders. You got this guy. You got Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, I think they're going to be able to run the ball better this year. I'm sure that was the main priority of the offseason with this team, with Devin Singletary. I think that's going to be, and this is what Lindsay Magazine writes up about that. He says, offensive line improvement. The Bills are bringing back the 5 players who were supposed to be starters last season, but did not play a single snap together as a group. However, some individuals need to be better, and they've been particularly in their run blocking. I think that's going to be a big emphasis. I do think that they are going to run block better last year. Again, this team went 15-4 last year, okay? They have, I want to say, 10 players on defense coming back and 9 players on offense. And they have depth. They have depth at the pass rush position. Very good secondary. One of the better secondaries in the league, okay? And again, I think Josh Allen's probably going to win MVP. He's my MVP. He's going to win my he's going to win my MVP. This team, I've got Buffalo going 13-4. I got them winning this division probably by a game. Gregory Rossinu, yeah, defensive end, already seems to be hit first round. Guy got sacks early on. Josh Allen last year was 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 421 yards rushing, 8 rushing touchdowns. This guy's going to be a great fantasy player. I don't think he needs that many rushing touchdowns this year, okay? They need to lean on those running backs. I think they will, okay? I got them going 13-4. They're going to win this division. I don't know how far yet they're going to go, but I'm going to talk about the North here in just a second. But I think that they are a team that I think they can make the Super Bowl. Okay, that's not really a hot take. I know they got to the AFC Championship game last year. Buffalo, even after looking at their schedule, finishing very strong last year or this year, just like last year. That's what I got them doing. Allen was my dark horse MVP last year. Russell Wilson was my favorite. Okay, Wilson kind of fell off. Allen finished pretty well. Rodgers set the world on fire last year, padded a lot of his stats and ended up getting it. But this team is definitely one of the teams I think that can go the distance. I really do. And, I can't wait to see them have a full stadium next year, everybody. And let's see. Let me move over to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to move over to the AFC North. Now, the Ravens, they got Justice Hill. He's hurt now. Pickles, Latavius, they have signed, the Ravens have, of course, they've had a running back out. They have signed Le'Veon Bell to the practice squad. I would have definitely brought in Latavius Murray, who was cut today by the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Patriots, or the Ravens here, I'm in the AFC North. Somebody's sending me the text. Hold on for a second. I haven't. Sorry, guys. This person's lighting me up, and I've got to let them know. All right. Okay. All right. Now, they got 6 players back on offense, 10 on defense. They lost Judon. They lost him to the Patriots in free agency. Who is it that they lost at running back? J.K. Dobbins, torn ACL. He's done for the year. Now, just mentioned Hill, Justice Hill. He's also gone for the year. They brought Le'Veon Bell in the practice squad. If it's me, again, I would definitely go after Latavius Murray. I don't think he's washed up. I think it was just a money thing. They traded away Orlando Brown to the New England Patriots. They brought in former Patriot Alejandro Villanueva to help on the offensive line. They signed guard Kevin Zeiter. I think that's a former a Cleveland Brown player. They've also brought in Sammy Watkins over from the often injured lately from the Kansas City Chiefs. And they drafted this guy. They drafted Bateman. Rashad Bateman. And this guy, I've never seen a player, guys, look so bummed out to get drafted in the NFL. This is a wide receiver at University of Minnesota. Very highly coveted coming out. He was one of the bigger receivers that a lot of the analysts were talking about because Lamar Jackson is very inconsistent passer. This team was 32nd in passing offense in the NFL, okay? They have somewhat of a makeshift offensive line as well, but they are also one of the better run organizations in all of football. This Eric DeCosta, really good general manager, took over for Ozzie Newsome. This team and the Cleveland Browns have done a really good job. Let's see. Does Baltimore need a new head coach? Controversial question, I know. Well, John Harbaugh will do what it takes to win. This is a very bold move. He was on the hot seat before they got Lamar Jackson. And this Lindy's magazine has got Greg Roman, used to work with Jim Harbaugh and Colin Kaepernick and put that system together with the pistol offense with the 49ers back in 2012 when they made a run to the Super Bowl, ultimately to get beat by John Harbaugh in this Ravens team. Almost won $25,000 on that Super Bowl, $2,500 or $2,200 is what I end up winning. Lindy's magazine says Roman has put together the league's top rushing attack in the past 2 seasons. However, the rushing attack, the passing attack has struggled, is ranked last in NFL in yards per game and attempts. Roman's under pressure to add more balance to the offense and is expected to coincide with a deeper run in the playoffs. Quarterback Lamar Jackson to a threat. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Lamar's pretty much what he's going to be as a passer. The guy works hard. He's a good guy. He's not a mean-spirited guy. He's not a big ego guy. He's a great football player, but I think he's hit his pinnacle as a passer in this league. They have gotten somewhat snake bit by the injury bug, but I'll say this. I still think this team, I've got them going 10-7. Okay. They're going to be one of my bubble teams. I will let you guys know Thursday what I think the Ravens are going. I'm not ready to write them off yet. They've got a good offensive line. They've still got just a really good defense. They've had one of the most consistent check this out. They beat Cleveland 38-6 last year. They beat Cincinnati 38-3 one game. I mean, this team can really dominate they went to Indianapolis and beat them 24-10 in Indianapolis last year. Then the other game against Cincinnati, they beat them 27-3. I mean, this team is really well put together. They're deep. They're unlike the Rams. So I'm not ready just to throw them under the bus. They do open up at Vegas. Vegas has made some improvements on their team. I got a feeling they're going to lose to Vegas because of these wide receivers that are banged up. Hollywood Brown's banged up. Sammy Watkins is already banged up. Bateman, I just mentioned, he's not going to play there. They just re-signed an extension to they had signed an extension with Mark Andrews. God, these people keep calling me. Hold on. Doing a show. I'm doing a podcast. Thank you. Jeez, dude. All right. So they got a rough schedule. I think they're going to lose at Vegas on Monday night. They got Kansas City on a short week. Even if they do win, that's a loss right there. Then they got at Detroit. I think they'll win there. But they've got played Denver on October 3rd. So Denver's going to be very much improved. Pro Football Focus has Denver as the best secondary in football. Really good pass rush. It's at Denver. Denver also has a smart quarterback who just not going to make that big crucial mistake. He's just not going to do it in Teddy Bridgewater. So I got them losing at Denver on October 4th. And then they got the Colts on Monday night. I got them winning that one, but they got to play the Chargers on a short week. That's another loss right there. Then Cincinnati, then the bye. They played Minnesota at home. I gave them that. I gave Miami the win. They played Miami on a Thursday night at Miami. That's a big they could go down there and beat Tua. That could be the game that gets them in the playoffs. But I got them losing that Miami game. I got Cleveland sweeping them. I think they will split with Pittsburgh this year. But their last 4 games, it's Green Bay at home, at Cincinnati, Rams at home. I got them beating the Rams at home and beating Pittsburgh at home. But Green Bay may have Bakhtiari back on December 19th. So there's a good chance they can lose that game. But from November 28th to January 9th, this team's got to play Cleveland, at Pittsburgh, at Cleveland again, Green Bay, at Cincinnati, which may not be such a walk in the park now with Cincinnati, and then the Rams and Pittsburgh. So they've got a really tough schedule. They may be a team that just slides out of the playoff picture. Okay, Carlos, I got a good answer for that. Secondary doesn't help unless you score touchdowns. That helps when you got a good pass rush. When you got Bradley Chubb and you got Von Miller out there, and then you got guys like Fuller, the cornerback from the Chicago Bears, Bears should have never let go. They should have never let a guy that good go, but they did. I think his name's like Vincent Fuller, whatever. And then you've got Patrick Surtain there, who's having a great camp. This Simmons is rated as one of the top safety, if not the top safety in the NFL at safety there. So team's got a number one secondary, one of the better pass rushes in the league, okay? And they've got an upgraded offensive line. Noah Fant there at tight end. Very good. Jerry Jeudy, Hamlin back. That's going to be a pretty good team. Baltimore's going to have their hands full there. Now, that could come down to, kicks and everything. Now, that Ravens defense, not so sure about that. It's tough going up to Denver. I'm telling you, if you don't go to Denver all the time, teams are step off there. Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, has lost more games in Denver, Colorado than he has any city in the NFL. Look it up. I know it. That's why I get paid the big bucks. Okay? So the Ravens there. 10-7. I'll revisit this on Thursday, and I'll give you my Super Bowl predictions. But the Ravens, they got a tougher season. They're not going to – and I'm the only people that picked the Ravens to finish second last year. Colin Cowherd had them going 16-0. All the national people had them winning the North. Me. Go back and listen to the tape. I had Pittsburgh winning this division last year. Not this year. But of course, Pittsburgh did win it. I mean, they stumbled, but they end up winning. Okay, so going to Cincinnati, like Bill Belichick used to say, Pickles, on the Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's coming back from ACL tear there. The reports are he's gun shy. I count. He's a little leery about people getting close to him. He got blasted by that Washington front four. Got hurt in that game last year. they let Carl Lawson go to the Jets, and he ended up getting hurt. So that was turned out to be a pretty good move. But they've added guys like Ricardo Allen at safety, Trey Hinkerson, defensive end, brought him over from the Saints. Mike Hilton at corner, DJ Ojambada, defensive tackle. He came over from the Browns. But I want to say they also brought in a tackle, Riley Reef. I want to say they brought him over from the Minnesota Vikings. I still would have drafted Penei Sewell instead of Jamar Chase. You want to protect a talent like Joe Burrow. Could have been the most talented player in the division if you watch some of those games last year, like I did. This team beat Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football, 27-17. Pittsburgh was never really in it. And they beat Tennessee, a playoff team, 31-21. Okay? And again, last year, November 22nd at Washington, that's when Burrow got the ACL tear there. They were 4-11 and 1 tie last year. They lost a shootout week 2 last year, 30-35 against Cleveland, and Burrow's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield last year. But if you look at they're going to be a fun team, guys. They're going to be a fun team for fantasy. I mean, I think he'll shake this gun-shy off. He'll be a little shaky at first. I mean, they open up against Minnesota. I don't think they're going to win that Minnesota game. I got Minnesota win that game. Minnesota got good defense this year. I mean, they could. It's at home. I get it. But these receivers, guys, best receiving core they've had since T.J. Hushmanzada and Chad Johnson, in my opinion. I mean, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, that is money. But they didn't really need Higgins. I would have took Penei Sewell there. But we'll see. This team, I mean, they got a lot of 50-50 games. At Chicago, week 2. That's a toss-up. They got Jacksonville Thursday, the 30th September. Now, that'll be a good game, guys. That is Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow. That is Clemson, LSU, 2019 National Championship game. So that's going to be a really good game, okay? But I think they'll win that game. At Detroit on October 17th, get them winning that one. At the Jets, that's a coin toss. I got them beating Vegas off of a bye week. Vegas still don't have any defense. And, they play a team like the Chargers on December 5th. This is probably a 5-12, 6-11 team. If they're smart, they'll move off of Zach Taylor. Their head coach was a bad hire. Hiring a quarterback coach as your head coach. Are you kidding me? Brian says that was a really good. Cincinnati looks good on paper. That's about it. Yeah. Good call, Carlos. Yeah, I don't know if they can still stop anybody. And I don't care for their owner, Mike Brown. I think he was trying a little too hard to satisfy Burrow when he drafted Jamar Chase. When I would have took one of those tackles, it was Sewell or Rashad Slater. I'm hearing Sewell's having a little bit of problem in camp because he's only 20 years old. The left tackle ended up going to Detroit. But, they're going to be a fun team. They're going to be, the division's too good for them right now. They need some more offensive line help. And they can use another pass rusher or two. They got more holes than a golf course on defense. They can use some of the players like they used to have from back, some Vontez Burfict type of players, minus the dirtiness, right? But I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Okay, Pittsburgh. Now, I'm really on the fence with Pittsburgh. They've lost Pouncey. You guys, I want to say they've lost 4 offensive linemen, including Pouncey, retired, one of the best centers in the game, Pro Bowl level center. See if I can find Pittsburgh real quick. Okay. All right. Lost Bud Dupree to Tennessee. Matt Fire, Pittsburgh. He was a tackle, played 13 games, lost him. He went elsewhere. Maurice Pouncey retired. Alejandro Villanueva, he went to Baltimore, played 16 games last year. Lost Avery Wilson. But, we'll see how it works out for them. They did pick up Najee Harris. They did fire their offensive coordinator. They brought in Matt Canada. I like what they've done in the preseason. They've shown that they're going to run the ball. They're going to screen the ball to the running backs here. I like Najee Harris so far from what I've seen of him. And I also like this other guy, Anthony McFarland Jr., another guy that can, the Castro's gone. I mean, but they still have the best defensive line in football. There's been discussions about extending TJ Watt, one of the best pass rushers, had like 15 sacks last year. Remember, Devin Bush got hurt last year. One of their better linebackers. He's back. Cameron Hayward. This Stephen Tuitt. He's back. Joe Hayden still cornerback there. Mika Fitzpatrick. This is a loaded defense, guys. And this team could very well put out Baltimore. Remember, they were 12-5 last year, got off to 11-0 start, stopped running the football, forgot how to run the football. James Conner went from decent to pretty good to nothing overnight. And that's why, like I said, this new offensive coordinator, now Pro Football Focus has got an offensive line 31st. If they had made moves like, say, for instance, getting Orlando Brown, but they would have never done that in Baltimore. That's a division foe. If they would have done that, made some moves like that, been very aggressive and going after veteran offensive linemen like some of the other teams have done, I think this will be a different story. It would be easy to put them in second place and maybe a game behind, maybe even win the division again over Cleveland. But that's just not the case, okay? I got them losing opening week against Buffalo, at Buffalo. That's too much. Buffalo got too much pass rush now. Buffalo smoked them last time, and I think they'll beat them again this time. But I do have them. They got Vegas at home, Cincinnati. That's 2 wins. I think they go to Green Bay and beat Green Bay. You got the best pass rush in football. And David Bakhtiari is out for 6 games. And guess what? That's only 4 games into the season. Without your all-pro center, Corey Lindsey, without David Bakhtiari, going against guys like TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Tuitt, all those guys, and this running game, not quite the pass rush on the other side with Green Bay. So I got them beating Green Bay. Then they play Denver, Seattle at home. They can win both of those games, but they can lose one of those games. It's too many good teams in a row. Got a bye week. They play at Cleveland. I got them winning that Cleveland game, actually, because it's off of a bye week. Then they play Chicago on Monday night. Then they got Detroit at home. They could lose that Detroit game. Hopefully not. I got them winning it. Then they got to play at the Chargers. Got them losing that one. That's a long trip for them. They got to play at Minnesota December 9th, Thursday night game. Got Minnesota winning that game. And then Tennessee at Kansas City, Cleveland at Baltimore. So very tough schedule down the stretch for this Pittsburgh team. I got them 11-6-10. It's I'm gonna lean 11-6 there. I'm gonna say they're gonna finish slightly ahead of Baltimore by a game. But if Roethlisberger gets hurt, all is off. Now, Mike Tomlin, these guys are saying Tomlin's on the hot seat. Lindy's magazine. This is a write-up about Tomlin. Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in the past 4 years and has just 3 playoff victories since the Steelers lost the Super Bowl to the Packers back in 2011. The Steelers made the playoffs in 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 20, but they're 3-6 in the past season during that stand. So the problem with Tomlin, he's never had a losing season. I give him credit for that, but his teams play down to the competition. Like I said, they had Detroit on a short week this year. I could see them losing that game. This team lost to Jacksonville before. You get them on the road against a bad opponent. That last year they were hanging on to beat Dallas when Dallas was terrible. And then you got 4 offensive linemen replaced. But if you run the ball, play action with that kind of defense and that kind of field position, and you keep Roethlisberger upright where he's not throwing 35, 40 times a game, you can win a lot of games. They're not on the level of Buffalo. They're not on the level with the team I'm about to talk about, Cleveland. They're not on the level with a Kansas City right now. This is probably Ben's last year, in my opinion. But I think they're going to finish 11-6. That doesn't mean they're going to get in the playoffs. I still got to look at the Colts, and I still got to look at this Charger team, which I think is really going to have a good season this year. Young, energetic, fiery, got a new coach there. But let me go over to the Cleveland Browns. I've been high on them, guys. You hear me every week. Hey, something nice about Cleveland. Cleveland is deep everywhere. They're a team. I was reading Mary Kate Cabot. She's Cleveland.com writer for the team. Got her own website, I believe. And she put out the depth chart. And Greg Newsom, this rookie, beat out Greedy Williams at cornerback. And I thought Greedy Williams was having a great camp. So the rookie was so good that he beat out the second-year player out of LSU. And, you know, I'm looking at their general manager, and I'm trying to get this guy's name. I want to say it's like Podesta or something like that. Johnson, Andrew Berry, Paul, Chief Strategy Paul Podesta. Either way, this guy's a Moneyball guy. He was the guy brought in from baseball to help this team out. He was from the movie Moneyball. He was the other guy that helped out the Brad Pitt character. Maybe that's why they got the best one of the best. They got the best roster in the AFC. You know, they brought in guys like Jadeveon Clowney, Troy Hill, highly coveted. He's not even a starter. Troy Hill was the third corner on the Rams. He's not even a starter with these guys. He's going to be like a nickel with this team. Anthony Walker from the Colts. Malik Jackson, great player. Great underutilized. He's replacing Sheldon Richardson because of a cap issue. And John Johnson, safety. That's a major safety upgrade there. So Osawu couldn't even make. He had a great camp, rookie. He was beat out at linebacker for this team. Guys, Anthony Walker beat him out. I mean, their weak spots were at the back four on defense and linebacker. Well, they've addressed all of that, guys. They've had the best offseason not named Tampa in the NFL. I mean, they just one great player after another. Again, Clowney supposed to be. Hey, hold on for a second. Jadeveon Clowney is supposed to be in the best shape of his life coming in. Best shape since 2014, all reports. Myles Garrett with TJ Watt is going to be a defensive player of the year candidate, in my opinion. So this Cleveland team is 11 defensive guys, but really a lot of guys got pushed back to second string. They're going to look different defense. They're going to be quicker. They're going to be able to cover better. Hold on. Somebody keeps about to get. So I really think this team is, I'm saying 15-2. Stand by, sir. 15-2, 14-3. Pro Football Focus has got them offensive line, number 1. Defensive line, number 11. Wide receiver core, number 11. Back 4, let me see what they had. Number 4 secondary. It was ranked one of the worst coming into the season. Now they're 4, this Cleveland Browns team. So I tell you, man, these guys are going to be loaded. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I think they're going to get the number 1 seed in the AFC. The teams I have left do not have the roster that this Cleveland Browns team. Baker Mayfield is on a contract year. That's the only, and plus they got Odell Beckham back. Did I mention that? Grant DePete, safety back, Greedy Williams. Those guys are backups. They were supposed to be starters last year. They were beat out and count, and they were fully healthy. So I think they're going to go a long way. I got them knocking out Kansas City Sunday. All right. Only the games I see them losing, probably to New England on November 14th. They may lose at the Chargers or at Minnesota on the either the 3rd or the 10th. Split with Pittsburgh. Either way, I got them finishing first, getting that 1 seed. This is the best Cleveland team probably of my lifetime. You know, I know it's saying a lot. I may be cursing this team, but I was just really high on every phase of this roster. And, yeah, Mel Kiper put Cleveland to thank you, Pickles. Mel Kiper put Cleveland to go to the Super Bowl against Green Bay. So I've got them going as a 1 seed. I haven't broke down the playoff picture yet. But Cleveland and Buffalo, just like I thought they were, like Dennis Green said, just like I thought they were, are going to be really good after looking at their schedule and breaking down their entire roster. Remember, they were 12-6 last year. They had some bad games last year. They were blown out a couple, but a lot of times that was because they were depleted with injuries too. So people mocked me when I said they'd make the playoffs last year. They made the playoffs last year. They're probably going to mock me again saying they're going to be a 1 seed in the AFC. But we're going to see about that, okay? So when I come back on Thursday, guys, we're going to knock out the AFC South, and we're going to do the AFC West, okay? And then I'll give you my full playoff picture. We'll give you the AFC side of the Super Bowl. We are an hour and 14 minutes in. If you like the show, please share the show. Again, we are 48 hours away. I'm looking forward to it. I will see you guys around halftime of Tampa Bay and Dallas here on Sports Scope. Have a good one.